Hello, hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here back again, typically once a month, as you guys know, for book club time. So, specifically, we had a really interesting book for this month. It was called The Morning Mind. Use your brain and to master your day and supercharge your life. Super informative, super telling. I've had a really busy week. And so I thought what was really fun about the content for this book was really honing in on the things that we're not doing to take care of our bodies, whether it's mentally, nutritionally, or just even from a self-care perspective. And it resonated. It definitely put some things to light, and it made it clear just how important taking care of our body and the connection between our brain and how we live our life is just paramount. So I think today will be a good conversation. It'll be really quick and easy as usual. So let me share my screen so that we can get to the deck. So November book club. Hello, hello, hello. Let's get to it, guys. So meet and greet typically, right? For those who don't know who I am, I always like to start off by just kind of giving a little bit about me, and then we get into the book summary and then key sections, which is really the meats and potato of the book club, right? So that you can get a little bit of excerpts on different sections that I think make most sense. I'm not sure if we'll get through all of it. I have several different sections that really hit home with me, but I wanted you to see it. And then, of course, what comes next, right? And why you should join the book club if you're not already joining every single month. I am Natasha Maria Nurse. I am a DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion professional. I am a coach. I hone in on accountability in media and career coaching. I'm an author. I've written several books already, published poetry. So really excited to always be able to share my insight and wisdom. I'm working on another book right now. So really excited about that. More to come for that in, I believe, 2022. I'm a podcaster with my husband. I have a podcast called Woken Free. Super exciting. We just recently hit some milestones there on the show. So we've been doing that over 4 years. If you are not listening, subscribe, go to wokenfree.com. Super fun. And then a speaker, doing everything from live streaming to being on stages, participating in conferences, leading workshops or facilitating workshops, all of that good jazz. And so why do I do all the things that I do? Just to kind of be able to be a positive influence, to be able to help people understand how to craft their presentation, whether it comes from a personal branding perspective or in their careers, and also to just live their authentic truth. Everything I do a lot. I have 27,000 jobs. You can ask my husband. And I love every single one of them. I'm a mother, wife, right? Daughter, friend, all of that good jazz. And for me, it's all about just making sure that my life is meaningful each and every day, that my son can be proud of me, that he can understand all the hard work that I do every single day. And it's all for him, and it's all for building the legacy, not only from him, but also for what I want my life to stand for. And so with that, to keep it moving, I always like to share my life motto, just because I think we all should have a pledge or a commitment that we stand to and live to. Mine is to learn something new and meet someone new every day. Guys, you can do this through the internet. It's really awesome. It's really awesome. And there's something to learn every single day from adults, from children. My son teaches me something every single day. Guys, it's amazing. It's amazing. I'm totally obsessed. It's awesome. Motherhood is phenomenal. It's hard work, but it's phenomenal. With that, let's keep it moving. So, book summary. What is this book all about? On Amazon, it says the following: bad habits, bad feelings, bad mornings that turn into regrettable days. Who hasn't been there, right? Banish them all with simple brain hacks that flip negative thoughts and behaviors into positive, productive ones. Instead of dragging through your day, learn to wake up refreshed, recharge regularly, and live better than ever. I would say, to add to this, for me, what I took best from it was understanding that life is not necessarily as difficult as human beings want to make it. And it really comes down to kind of what you put in is the output you get out, right? And so if you make conscious, strategic decisions as to how much you sleep and when you eat and what you eat and how you process thoughts and what you think about during the day and who you have around you, is going to produce an outcome that is your life. And so the more negative or the more lack of self-care or the more kind of betrayal to your well-being, that is going to be reflected in the life that you live. So that's pretty much like what I took from the book. And so we can kind of get to different sections. So if you're interested in understanding more about your brain and like what different parts of your brain are existing, I thought pages, I forget, how do you say Roman numeral? Is that page X5? Is that 15? I think so. I forget. It's been so long, but I'll relearn it once my son is up to that in school. But the brain goes on to the authors, I believe Dr. Rob Carter III and Dr. Kirti Swally Carter writes the following. They include, they first start with a quote from Robert Frost. The brain is a wonderful organ. It starts working the moment you get up in the morning and does not stop until you get into the office. Makes sense, right? And then the authors go on to say the following. Our brain can be divided into 3 distinct regions: the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and the human brain, from both an anatomical and evolutionary perspective. We'll explore how each of these areas plays a vital role in anything we do in life. Through a better understanding of our brain anatomy, the physiology of our senses, and the function of the human body, we can better optimize our brain and body performance. So what are they saying? So the premise of the book is really kind of taking a scientific and a methodical approach to understanding our brain and how it works and how it interacts and creates the life that we're living through living. And I thought that that was brilliant because, you know, a lot of people, I mean, I don't know about you, but I definitely did not. I know we have different parts of our brain, obviously, right? Like, duh. But to really kind of break it out, reptilian, mammalian, and then the human brain, like that's super interesting. So the reptilian brain they call is like the lizard brain. They say located at the top of the spine, the reptilian brain, or R complex, consists of the brainstem, cerebellum, and basal ganglia. This portion of the brain is thought to exist from the time in our evolutionary history when we were lizards, hence its name. It controls vital functions like breathing and heart rate, and is also responsible for survival and basic emotions like fear. This primitive part of our mind oversees keeping us alive. However, it also accounts for sabotaging our plans and goals and frequently holds us back. Very interesting. And so I don't know if you can see, let me see. I can go into this mode so you can see this. This way, right? Okay. So they have little charts in the book. See that? Okay. So I just wanted you guys to see that piece of it. Let me get back into it. All right. And so then to go on to the mammalian brain, which is they call the limbic system. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing anything. I'm not even going to say anything because what I would say is be negative, and that's not nice. So we have to speak wellness over ourselves. And I'm going to get into the passage, which is, journeying a few steps up the evolutionary ladder, we developed the mammalian brain where we became mammals. The limbic system derives its name from the hind legs, limbs of dogs to which it looks similar. It consists of the hippocampus, I think that's how you say that, the amygdala, I don't know if I'm saying that, and the hypothalamus, that I'm definitely not saying correctly. This part, and that's a shame because I actually have a college undergraduate degree from Penn State. We are in animal science, so you would think I would be better with anatomical naming, but when this part of the brain evolved, it allowed us to behave with broader awareness. For example, caring for offspring, making value judgments, developing long-term memory, and feeling in response to situations rather than reacting only instinctively or automatically. This mammalian brain is responsible for emotions where greater depth of feeling is experienced, such as love, empathy, hope, and other profound feelings. Interesting, right? So the mammalian brain is, I guess, more of that like touchy-feely part of us as human beings, right? Maybe a little bit, you could even argue the human part of us, right? Like a little bit, except for we have the human brain, which is the wizard. So the authors go on to say, currently we find ourselves at a point in nature's grand evolutionary process in which we came from reptiles to mammals to the upright species we call Homo sapiens, the scientific term that is Latin for wise man. Interesting. Introduced in 1758 by Carl Linnaeus. the father of modern taxonomy. This epic process is mirrored during the development of the brain in a human embryo. The structure of the three brain regions develop in order. The reptilian brain forms first, then the mammalian brain matures around it, after which the human brain, the wizard, forms the outermost layer of this complex and fascinating organ. Yes, your brain is an organ. The human brain is made up of the left and the right hemispheres and the neocortex, the new brain. It is the most significant region of the brain, making up 76% of the brain's overall mass in humans. The cerebral evolution opened the capacity for thought, language, sensory perception, and imagination, significantly expanding awareness, cumulative social harmony, and signaling the dawn of new human culture, a magical development worthy of the name wizard. Interesting. Okay, so let me show you this chart. Okay. Can you see? Human mammalian brain. Very interesting stuff. So, like if you're into science and you're into understanding a deeper context for like why are we why do we think the way that we think? Why do we do the things that we do? I think that this section of the book was definitely very thought-provoking, and with that, we're gonna have to keep it going because I do want to be mindful of the time. So then the next section is body clock. So let me get to page 4 and talk a little bit about that. So in the book, they have different little nifty charts, right? So there, closer. Okay. There we go. Can you see that? All right. So with that, what I thought was absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. I can't stop saying brilliant this week. I don't know what that's about. I haven't even watched Harry Potter recently. Like, it's ridiculous. But we're just going to go with it, guys. So with this, it is literally a table that details the times of the organs and their peak performance of the day. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how did I not know about this? So your gallbladder, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. I'm not going to say all of them. I mean, I might. Let's see. Liver, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Go figure. Lungs, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. Large intestines, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Your stomach, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Your spleen, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Your heart, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. for your small intestines. Your bladder, 3 to 5 p.m. Kidneys, 5 to 7. The pericardium, the heart sac, that's interesting, 7 to 9 p.m. And then triple burner, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So what's the moral of that story is that throughout the day, there are different opportunities for your organs internally. Stuff is going on and they have peak performance. And so what does that mean for you? Be cognizant of that. Be cognizant of your activities. Like some of us who are young and fun, right? We're out here in these streets doing things between 1 and 3 a.m. or 1 and 5 a.m. And like, your organs are doing stuff. And are you doing anything to kind of go against that peak performance? Are you doing things to harm your body instead of helping yourself? Very interesting stuff. So just food for thought a little bit there. Sleep time. Now this part kills me because this is the part where, like, this week, for instance, I was saying in the beginning of this conversation, really tough week, guys. Like, not a lot of sleep. A lot of activity, a lot of work as we get closer to the holidays, right? Things to do. And it's like, oh, time to rest. Nope. Rest is a theory. It's a concept. Obviously, no, self-care is everything, obviously. But, it's hard when you're balancing multiple things, multiple projects, multiple people. It becomes interesting. And so when is the best time you should sleep? Who thinks they have the answer? If you think you have the answer, put that in the comments, and I'm going to detail out what the authors of this book are suggesting. So they break it down based on your age group. So for those of us in our 30s, the optimum waking up time, and I really got a kick out of this, hubby should as well as he's watching, I'm sure. 30s, if you're in your 30s, 8 a.m. is the optimal time you should be waking up, and optimal sleeping time, 11:40 p.m. I was like, interesting. Now, if you're in your 20s, because I do have a strong audience in my 20s, in their 20s who follow me, and I really appreciate y'all. 9:30 a.m. is your optimum waking time, and your optimum sleeping time is 1 a.m. I was like, this is not making sense. Now, if you're, say, for instance, in your 60s, 6:30 a.m. Isn't that interesting how the clock changes there? And then optimum sleeping time, 10 p.m. Very interesting stuff. And there's a quote here, let me share with you. Dr. Kelly commented on predicament of the following. We've got a sleep deprived society. It is hugely damaging on the body system because you are affecting physical, emotional, and performance systems in the body. We cannot change our 24-hour rhythms. When we are teenagers and our bodies are still growing, our circadian rhythms are biologically hardwired to go to sleep late, about midnight, and to wake up late, about 10 a.m. This would be ideal time for us to operate. When we are sleep deprived, we have elevated levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and reduced levels of neurotransmitters, which leads to a decrease in our concentration and an increase in moodiness, typically found in this age group. So interesting, right? If you think about that, because if teenagers optimum waking time is 10 a.m. and they have to get out of the house anywhere between 6 and 8 a.m., what are we doing to our kids? Well, how are we setting them up for success? That's very interesting stuff. And I know even for myself, 8 a.m. waking up time, like I literally wake up anywhere between 3 and 4 or 3 and 5 in the morning. Maybe if I'm lucky, like on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll treat myself to waking up at maybe 7 or God forbid 9 a.m. right? Like rarity. And that usually means I went to bed at like 1 or something. But like, what? I'm like totally throwing off my system. I'm still wrapping my mind around this because I listen, I want to live a life where I can thrive, not just mentally and emotionally, physically, financially, and all that, but you want your body to do well. And so you have to start to think about your behaviors, and you have to start to think like, what am I doing for me and what am I doing against me? So really interesting food for thought. This book was different. It hit a different way that I wasn't expecting, to be honest. Page 8, goes into optimum eating times. This you'll get a kick out of, so I can share the chart with you. Right there. So if you're in your 30s, optimum eating time for your evening meal is 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Like I literally am ready to eat dinner at 4 p.m. pretty much every day, but typically it's because I'm up at 4 a.m. So I'm like, it's time to eat. It's time for dinner, right? And so just throw me off. If you're in your 20s, optimum eating time for your evening meal, 9:30 p.m. But then if you're in your 60s, 6:30 p.m. So interesting. Oh, gosh. And then if you get into your optimum physical activity, 30s, 4 p.m., which is interesting, right? Because what do people, I've been a proponent of saying, oh, if I'm going to work out, I need to work out first thing in the day. Like I didn't work out yet in the morning and I feel like really guilty about it, but it's like super sus. Maybe I should be working out at 4 p.m. and not necessarily 4 a.m., right? So it's really interesting stuff. It's, it's mind-blowing, really mind-blowing. So with that, let's skip around into some stress management because I thought that was really interesting. Page 34 to 35. I hope you're enjoying this, guys. This is like fascinating to me. Okay, so managing stress hormones with diet and lifestyle changes. So the author suggests the following. Eat more fresh vegetables and fruit. And for the fruits, vegetables, it's always a struggle, hubby knows. And I don't know. I just feel like unless it's like buttered and like with delicious seasoning, I'm like, ugh. Unless it's a salad, I'm down for a good salad. But then even that, I get very finicky. So, but again, if you think about what am I doing and what's the greater impact of what I'm doing, if it's going to help you be less stressed, you'll get over that aftertaste of broccoli, right? Like you'll come to terms with it. You'll have a come to Jesus moment with it. Stay physically active. Yes, right. But so many of us do what? We find ourselves sitting so many hours during the day. So what do? How can you start to implement change for yourself? Make time every day to relax. That I think is comical for some people, right? If you tell that to like mothers or stay-at-home mothers or people who are just like really in high stress capacity lives, they're like, you, what? It's like, because you're trying to do the best you can do, right? And you like, what does that look like for you? And I think what I'm learning as in my own life is really to like sit with self and not necessarily prescribe other people's lifestyle choices to your own, but really sit in what makes sense for you. Like for me, physical activity isn't necessarily running or hiking. And yes, I live in Arizona. I should be hiking. I get it. Understood. I understand the assignment. However, I'm just not there yet, right? I have a thing with bugs. Ugh. And and I'm just like, but my baby, he can't be out in the sun for too long, right? Like there's certain parameters that I'm living and dealing with and constraints in my life that might not apply to someone else. So maybe for me, it's a 30-minute walk or an hour walk as opposed to a 15-minute or 30-minute hike, right? Just figuring out what works for you and not necessarily feeling guilty that you can't do what other people are doing, but you make what you need to do work for you. Get a good night's sleep. That one is, you have to mull that over. I think it's really regiment, right? Structure, I think, is the key thing. If you can get to have a routine where you're going to bed by 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or 11:40 p.m., depending on your age group and your optimal sleeping time, you could then say what you need to do is, okay, I need to have breakfast at this time. I need to work during these hours, me time. And yes, we all have to integrate me time in this time of the day. And right. And then you just kind of create that structure and you become that militant, like regimented officer of your own life, right? And you say, nope, this has to happen how I want it to happen. And you can make adjustments, right? Best practices are always going to be critical when we're trying to align life decisions and ways to make life easier. But I think just being committed to the practice is really important. Eliminating all processed sugars from your diet, that part right there, that part is a struggle, because if you are like me, then you enjoy the sweet treats of life. And you're like, but the cupcakes and the this and the that and it's gonna be Thanksgiving, right? Like you're just like, wait, what? Why can't I have that pie? All of it. It's hard, right? But again, stages, right? So maybe you can't necessarily eliminate all of it today, but if you typically have 4 candy bars in the day, maybe you have 3, right, for today. And you kind of create a wind down process for yourself. Again, I think when I read books like this and I try to understand how I can be better, it's about staging. I'm, there's not one way to do everything or anything rather. And so you have to look at your life, look at the advice, and then see how you make the most sense for you. I think that's the best way to kind of take healthy, constructive movement in your life and progression. And then the last piece of this of kind of how do you take diet and lifestyle and manage your stress hormones? Eat citrus fruits and licorice, which I was like, not a fan of licorice, but I can get down with some citrus fruit though. So there you go. Okay, so brain and water, that is the section that speaks to the importance of like having enough water. I think there was one thing I did want to mention there before we move on. You see how the time is getting away from us, y'all? It's just so crazy. Let's see. Let me find. Oh, yes, this section right here. So on page 45, blew my mind, y'all. Blew my mind. When it comes to the quality of water, tap water should be filtered unless you have the good fortune of water main connected to a pure mountain spring. Okay. Tap water is often full of harmful contaminants. These include aluminum, which increases the risk of Alzheimer's. Who knew? Arsenic, which can be found lurking in pipes and is a known poison that increases oxidative stress in the brain and reduces learning and memory ability. Wow. Pharmaceutical contaminants from tablets, medicines flushed down the toilet, metabolites, not sure if I said that right, in urine or undigested tablets leak a vast array of unwanted antibiotics, hormones, and antidepressants into drinking water through recycling systems that were not designed to cope with these biologically active chemicals. Say what now? What? We're having what? In the where? Okay. Like, enough. enough. So how do you drink more water? The authors go on to say on page 46, Remind yourself to drink water, right? So what's a really good way of doing that? Putting it in your calendar, creating like a flow chart or something. It's not flow chart per se, but some type of timing chart on your wall, right? And that way you get reminders of like, okay, drink water at 7, drink water at 9. I also have a bottle. Let me see if you can see. Yeah, I got this on Amazon that gives you kind of like, you see how intense it is? 7 a.m. Are you ready? Right, ready, go. 9, 11, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Do I hit all of that all day long? Typically no, but I'm really proud of myself when myself when I'm able to do half of it for the day. If I do a full day, then it's like a glorious magical moment, and I'm also peeing like no other. But it's really good because it clears out the toxins in your body. So there's that. Let's see. Before we end off where we're going, I think there's a couple more things. So I want to hit on habits, self-discipline, habits, and affirmations. Okay. So self-discipline, pages 65 to 77. I thought that was awesome to talk about that in this book, because the habits we have, right? Like, what do we do? So how to create more self-discipline. Tip number 1, be aware of your resistance, meaning what is the nonsense and the bull that you talk to yourself about or others talk to you out of doing. Technique number 2, plan for every outcome. This part I not necessarily am in alignment with, because I am a practitioner of the law of attraction, which is really honing in on what you need to do and what you control, not necessarily looking at outside forces and like how things could fail. That's not really a helpful exercise for you. More so, what can you control? Because when you think about how things fail, that's when the worry and the self-doubt and the negative thoughts kind of linger in your mind. So not necessarily on board there. But again, you know, different streams of thought. Technique number 3, prepare to give something up in order to gain. That I thought was interesting, this kind of self-negotiation piece that you should definitely dive into if you get the book. Technique number 4, reward yourself, the challenge of self-compensation. So that I'm totally for. That's why, like, for instance, I love Christmas, because like I love getting gifts from my loved ones, but then also I'm like, what's up, Tosh? Like, we about to treat you. Yes, 1,000%. And then, of course, how do you overcome overcoming by self-motivation? So buying yourself a new book. I love this one. Having sex. Go for a massage. Take a relaxing bath. Go to the beach. Take a free online course. Love that. Go relax in the park or wilderness. Wilderness, excuse you? Okay. Buy some new clothes. 1,000%. I'm there every day. I'm there every day with that one. Play your favorite sport. Maybe. And then technique number 5, break down your goals into manageable steps. I've definitely done content around that. Recognizing your progress. Typically, whenever I do content, I always talk about the importance of acknowledging your victories. That is how you get that fuel for that tank to keep moving forward. So important. And then seeing your progress, which is super important, especially like from a fitness perspective. It's so wonderful when, especially, I love seeing people when they document themselves. And it's like, even after a week of activity, you can see your body changing and just feeling stronger. It's such a beautiful thing. Technique number 8, distractions and temptations. Got to talk about it, right? There's always those distractions. Now, if you go on creating empowering habits, starts on page 79. They essentially, let me get to this part where it says, so the way to create new habits, according to the authors, prioritize them, take them one at a time, be committed, agree with yourself about how much effort you'll put in. That's that part. Reward your success, absolutely. Stack habits. And then also they go into talking about utilizing the power of affirmations. I say affirmations to myself as well as my son every day. I love it because, especially with Boo Boo or Baby, right? I call him Boo Boo or Booby. I don't know why. His name's KJ, but Booby sometimes is more appropriate. And I tell him every day how I'm proud of him and how he's so loved and he's so brilliant and he's learning and he's eating and he's growing and he just smiles. And I just love that, like the power of affirmations, even with a freaking 4-month-old, like he can feel it, he can sense it, or it's in my mind, one of the two. Either way, I'm a very happy camper, so we'll take it. In creating powerful affirmations, the authors provided some really helpful tips. I do want to get that across. Use present tense, right? Use language that feels good when you use it. Use inclusive language. Be specific. That part. Make it believable, but stretch your boundaries. And then, then they give advice on how to apply it. So with that, there's so much more I could go into. There's a morning routine that they offer in the book, but we're going to hit time soon. So I don't want to miss the opportunity to talk about what we're doing in December. So you see from the cover of this book, a dirty word. How a sex writer reclaimed her sexuality. So it's going to be hopefully a naughty read. No, I don't know. I haven't. I don't want to spoil it. I have to read it myself, so we'll see. I'm excited. I always love books that are a little bit, sometimes books that can be raunchy. Like I'm definitely a huge fan of Zane. I love a little bit of sultry in life, right? Like a little bit of ooh la la. There you go. So you'll be able to, if you aren't already haven't joined the book club, please do so at dressingyourmate.com. Subscribe to the monthly newsletter. Go to my recommendations page. That's where you'll be able to get a copy of this book. You'll be able to get a copy of the book that we read for this month, and make sure you RSVP so I know who's coming through. I want to celebrate y'all. So with that, that is the end of the show. I know you're like, wait, Tosh, it's over. It's over. So sad, but you'll see me next month. So not too sad. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. If you don't tap into my social on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, all the places I'm at, dressingyourmate.com. Again, subscribe to the blog, subscribe to the monthly newsletter. Join us for the next book club next month. I can't wait to see you there. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holidays. Be blessed, be safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye.